It's a turtle man.
Take a deep breath in. Sigh out the mouth.
Alright guys and girls, first off I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into this video and for watching the last videos, leaving comments, sending me DMs, leaving me suggestions and everything. It's definitely been an interesting weekend, but I'm very excited to be here today, very happy to be alive and well on this Monday morning doing this voiceover. So today is an off day from the gym. I definitely got in my training sessions over the past 4 or 5 days, even with 2 days off in a row. I had multiple back-to-back training sessions, and this bench press session was my last push day. So I think if I recall correctly, my bench session was 225 for about 5 or 6 sets in my previous workout. And today we started with 225 and things felt excellent. This was my second set here. I went through the warm-ups with the dumbbells, I rode the bike, and I just worked up very, very slowly. I'm usually starting with the barbell, 95 pounds, and then either 115 or 135, and then 155. So it does take me a while to get to 225, but it's kind of on purpose, just so I can continue to practicing my shoulder position, which is something we'll get into on the floor press. So if you're all watching this to get some advice for your push day, stay tuned, because once I'm done benching, I've got some good advice for you guys. I think it's very valuable, and it's something that my physical therapist, he didn't really tell me or instruct me per se. He just told me to add this into my pressing workouts as I begin moving from therapy into my own pressing. So as I said, 230 pounds, was able to manage 4 sets with it, and I'm extremely happy with this bar path. Myself laying down on the bench, I see the barbell just coming down very, very even, and I see my pecs rise above the barbell very soon as the bar starts to come down. These things don't happen literally, but it's kind of like, instead of feeling like the barbell's coming towards my eyes, it looks like the barbell's disappearing like under my chest, and that makes me feel very elevated and safe versus receiving the barbell. It's kind of like I'm hiding the barbell under my pecs, and I can just see my pecs in front of me, and it feels really good. So that's how the bench felt, really nice. 230 pounds isn't very heavy, but I'm making the most out of it for sure. So onto the floor press now. One thing that I do want to, I guess, tell you is what I've gained from yoga and what I've gained from PT and just basic scapular retraction. So one move in yoga, it's very simple, is laying on your back as you see me here on the floor press, but letting your arms fall to the ground. And when you let your arms fall to the ground, I'll show you here in sync with the video, if you push into the ground, you'll notice that your scapula automatically retract under you. So what you can see me sort of doing here, and I don't suggest you guys force it, I just suggest you think about it. When I get to the ground, I'm not just sitting there and ready to explode. I get to the ground and it's almost like I can receive the dumbbell further by just imagining that if I was laying down, I'm pressing my elbows, and then that's gonna do that. So once I'm here, I imagine like I'm laying down and I just do that little motion, and it sets your shoulder deep in the socket so you can press. So rewind that and watch that tape, and you know, say you're a 225 bencher like I am. Maybe it's not as easy for you as it is for me, but let's just say you can throw up 225. Grab some 45-pound dumbbells and lay down on the ground with a floor press and start to practice. Practice slowly, learn how to catch the weight yourself. Do not injure yourself trying something crazy, ask for help. And just take note that when you're laying down, there is so much you can do by basically pushing your elbows into the ground and simultaneously with that room, basically magnetizing your shoulder blades together. Something you can't really do on the bench press without your arms off the ground. And same thing with the regular bench. If you want to do dumbbells on a bench, you can kind of like stick your elbows so far behind the bench that it's like an artificial arching. So when you're on the ground, you can't artificially set your shoulders back. You have to basically get in front of your shoulders by pressing the elbows into the ground like that. So very light during the yoga movement. Again, You lay down, you relax, and you push from the elbows, maybe 3 to 5 pounds of force, and your whole shoulder girdle just shoots behind you. So that's just my advice for this voiceover. I know it's not necessarily about the workout, but I want you guys to take something from this. Try that floor press, and I know, sound the alarm, front raises. It's been years, brah, but the PT says, goes. Peace. Thanks. So we have a blast from the past on an old vacuum trolling video that I guess went viral. And West Coast asks, how long have you been practicing on vacuum to get it like this? I guess I'll be half serious and half joking. The best way to learn to vacuum, and again, this is kind of like half joking, is to not eat. If you don't eat food, you will learn and become so emaciated that your stomach will start to go inward, and you'll gain an ability to suck it in extremely deeply when you have no body fat and no food in your stomach. A lot of skinny kids or hard gainers like myself grow up basically being accidentally anorexic, or I guess you just call it undernourished would be the correct term, because anorexia sometimes it does imply an eating disorder. Ectomorphs, skinny guys, kids who are too small to play sports, whatever you want to call it, hard gainers, undereaters, we're underfed by our parents, by our caregivers, or do we just choose to not eat because we are not interested? People like this, I would say the average person can do an extreme vacuum. So if you were heavyset as a child, I guess most of America is overweight. If you've been overweight a large part of your life, a vacuum is something that you won't have any tendency to really learn to try. So I guess you could say I learned to vacuum as a super skinny kid before I ever knew what lifting weights even was. And then when I first saw a vacuum in a pose and I sucked my stomach in, I noticed how much bigger I looked. So I never practiced the vacuum. I've been genetically known how to suck in my stomach, just like I genetically know how to push it out. Daniel Daly says, getaway location looked sick. Yeah, it was really fun, and asks for Toronto Pro predictions. Oh yeah, you know today's getting crazy if I'm having a monster at 10 a.m. No training today though, so it doesn't really matter. So the Toronto Pro, I didn't end up making a coverage video on it or anything. This weekend actually was extremely trying for some things that I'm not gonna get into right now, but let's just say it's a brand new week, and the weekend was something brand new for me as well. So it didn't take the time to really even watch the Toronto Pro, but some interesting things. Mahmoud Al-Dara, the Canadian bodybuilder, or bodybuilder from Canada right now, he's living, I think, in Montreal. Anyways, he got second place, so I think that was Dura's best showing. And he was bested by, I forget who in the 212, but someone that I'm not very familiar with. More interestingly, the open class, we had Ian, Josh Wade, and De La Rosa coming in the top 3 spots. What's most interesting about this is you see Josh Wade really just doing the best with what he has. Ian being somewhat underwhelming for having basically some of the craziest muscle mass in bodybuilding. And then you saw John De La Rosa take a nice muscular physique and come in almost like a mini Phil Heath, well, with full muscle bellies that are shredded. So De La Rosa came in looking the best he's ever looked, and I think that was very shocking to the top 3, and John honestly made them all basically look like amateurs. And for him to do that is very difficult because he's not a tall guy. He just isn't that impressive in a lineup, in an Olympia lineup, let's say. John De La Rosa falls really far in the Olympia lineup when he's with Rolly and Phil and Roden and all those bigger guys, Ramy. So in this lineup, for him to just walk away like that was impressive. And if he can do that in the Olympia ever, with the few years left that he has, maybe he can do it with Neil Yoda Hill, his new coach, who seemed to get him peeled in the few months they've been together. So interesting show, but really excited for the Olympia. Let's get with it. Michelle says, maybe it's due to the angle, but it looks like you're curling your face pulls. Again, this is how I do them. So yes, technically here you're curling, but the motion of the shoulder is here, and then there's an external rotation component to, I guess, the lower arm. So in order to bring your hand to your face, you have to curl. So yeah, I guess I am curling it slightly, but that's not the intention. It's not to do this. It's to pull here and then finish like that. So Mac asks, how did you get fired from LYFT? So I got fired from LYFT 365 days after I got approved, and there's no coincidence there. I'm done getting my 4,040th ride, and I get kicked off the application. I think it's December 21st, and they said it was an issue with my background check. So long story short, they have about a 7-year grace period for LYFT officially. When I guess applied and was working, and there was something questionable on my record, let's say 5 to 6 years ago, 6 years ago from now. So I still technically can't drive. During my time working, they switched background check companies. The new company that did my background check 1 year later, which I had another automated background check 1 year later I was unaware of. I'm sure it was in the fine print somewhere. Not a big deal. That company decided I wasn't fit to drive, and because that company decided that, I was immediately fired with no questions asked and zero ability to contest it. So I made, let's just say, a full time salary for a college graduate, maybe even a graduate degree graduate. I gave 4,000 and something rides. I drove 38,766 miles for LYFT. And I was basically the best employee they could ever ask for, and I've never been in an accident in my life. But they fired me, and at the time it was heartbreaking. I lost a lot of money. My plans for this year were starting to be ruined, but things have happened this year that have been more, I guess, testing and more educational for me in my entire life, and specifically right now in this second. So that's the best I got for today. But thank you guys. Thank you for the new clients who signed up. You guys bring me so much joy and purpose, guys and girls, and thank you so much. Keep the questions coming. I got you guys. It's on to TRT. Oh boy, it's gonna be a long couple weeks.